Joining us right now is former FBI National Joint Terrorism Task Force member Steve Rogers. Hedgeye CEO Keith McCullough this morning with us, along with Dagen McDowell all morning with us. Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
So they had GoPro cameras on. They were all suited up. They went in. They had a mission. They knew what they were going to do, and they did it. What does that tell you?
This tells me this was a terrorist attack. I don't understand why in situations like this our government has to be worried about offending people, being politically correct. Look, they wore body armor. The cameras, Maria, I believe were going to be used to put on the internet if they got away with it to spread more terror. So look, I understand the FBI is a great organization. I believe we haven't been attacked catastrophically because of their hard work. But there has to come a time when we got to be straight with the American people and say, look, this is what happened. This is a terrorist attack, whether it's foreign-inspired or domestic or lone wolves, is something they have to conclude during the investigation. But it was a terrorist attack.
You know, well-planned, they say, well-planned. Like I almost felt like I was watching Homeland, and I don't mean to say that disrespectfully. It looked like there's something bigger at work there. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, Keith, bigger at work. The other issue is anyone else involved? You know, this is very important.
That's what I mean.
I was concerned when there was a lot of broadcasting about this. Is somebody watching those of us on TV and the media relaying to them information? These are not mentally ill people. They were well-educated people, sophisticated, and I say that because they planned, as you said, Keith, they planned this attack, but more importantly, they planned an escape. And that's pretty important to think about.
Steve, what do you do from here? Will Carr on the Fox News channel was reporting that one of the neighbors in Redlands saw suspicious activity in the days and leading up to this attack, where there were a lot of people around the where this couple lived. They were showing up, the activity at night, and she said that she didn't report it because she was afraid that she would be accused of racial profiling.
I am glad you brought that up, because look at the fear that our government has instilled in the American people. So fearful that if they say something, that they're going to get in trouble themselves. This is going on in police work today. Police officers are fearful to take that extra step because they'll be brought up on charge of racial profiling. What do? You share with people at one point in time. The political establishment and leaders in this country have to say, we will watch your back, we will take care of you, come forward, because you know what? If you don't say something, something like this could happen again.
What do you think the FBI is looking at now in terms of finding out the motive, finding out what's next, or if in fact there was another attack planned?
Well, they're going to look at their social media. That's very important. There may be electronic footprints somewhere else in the country that they were communicating with or overseas. That is right now what they're focusing on.
And there would have to be, and if you're saying that there's almost like a puppet master watching this develop and giving them instructions on the getaway, that they have to be using.
And we don't know that happened, but Keith, it's possible. The fact is, was this a cell? Are there other sleeper cells? And again, we just need to be straight with the American people, because if you're straight, your best intelligence gathering group are the American people in each and every one of these neighborhoods.
But as a law enforcement official, the less that you tell the public initially, isn't it better for your investigation if you really want to uncover what's going on?
If it doesn't compromise the investigation, you're right. But I'm glad they came out and said there was an SUV that left the scene, because that enabled them to start looking for SUVs all over the place. And I think that's what, why they had a quick apprehension.
ISIS is not taking responsibility for this, but there was a report right after the shooting yesterday that ISIS was celebrating online, sending out, celebratory notes and posts as a result of what has taken place, but they are not taking responsibility, as far as we know.
But could you imagine what ISIS would do if they got their hands on the videos? If those videos were put on the internet, they would use that as propaganda. But we must keep in mind that
you have to believe that was the goal, because they have these GoPro cameras on.
Why would they have them? But keep in mind that as the FBI investigates this, they may find that there was some influence that they saw on the internet. ISIS has a great propaganda machine. So these people could have been watching ISIS videos, etc., and were inspired to do this. Look, we don't believe, and I really don't believe, that there's this mass idea that all Muslims are bad people. That's ridiculous. There are a lot of good people in the Muslim community, but there are bad people everywhere. And it just so happens to be that this is the profile, the criminal profile, not the racial profile, but the criminal profile.
How do you deal with that? You have a 28-year-old whose colleagues effectively said he was acting normal, 6-month baby in the community.
They dropped the baby off with relatives before they did the shooting.
Is that typical? Like something thing that intelligence is very much aware of, that these people are living in the country?
Oh, yes. Look, I read the Al-Qaeda training manual a few years ago. They talked about embedding yourself in the community, get involved in their government, get involved in their educational institutions. And you know what, Keith? They weren't talking about a program that would last a month. They're talking about years of getting involved in our country and then striking and striking hard.
Wow.
Steve, stay with us.